So welcome everybody. Welcome to AI Academy. As usual, remember that we have a lot of resources that are available for you when we are not doing the Academy. So the first one, our main point of communication, is our AI and Intelligence Community Forum. You can visit the forum with an easy link, sn.works/AI. And on our community site, you can find a lot of getting started guides, FAQs, and you can post your questions and the members of the community can help you, or you can find previous questions that help in a lot of cases. The academies are recorded and then are posted on our Now Community YouTube channel that you can access on YouTube. And you also have access to all the other academies and all the other webinars that are recorded on the channel. It's a really good place to go. Also, remember that we have a Get Started with AI Solutions course on Now Learning. So if you go to Now Learning and look for the Get Started with AI Solutions, it's a great course that gives you an introduction to all our different AI solutions and how to get your company started on that. And also, if you would like to opt in to partner with ServiceNow to share some data so we can advance the field of AI, you can opt in to our Global AI Innovation Program. There is an email there that you can reach out to or talk to your account team. As always, we try to cover features and products that are available, but in case we make forward-looking statements or we talk about roadmap or answer questions in a forward-looking statement way, please remember our safe harbor notice and always check back with your account team before making a purchase decision. If you are new to AI Academy, here are some of the basics. So the academies are ideas that we bring for you so you can get better understanding and practical guidance on our product, and here specifically our AI products. The sessions are recorded and posted on the Now Community YouTube channel. But if you are here with us today, it's a great opportunity to ask your questions. To ask you to use the Q&A panel in Zoom, and we'll get your questions answered. And with that, let me introduce the topic for today. Today, we're going to talk about automating the invoice digitization with AI and account payable operations. So some of you might have been part of some of the previous sessions when we talked about document intelligence and how AI can extract information from documents. And we talked about how to set that up in more of a custom workflow manner. But here today, we're going to see how document intelligence is embedded in one of our out-of-the-box products that covers the end-to-end process of managing account payables. And I'm gonna let Bini walk us through that. And our agenda for today, we're gonna go through an overview and then a demo, a recorded demo of the product, and we'll leave plenty of time for questions. So with that, Bini, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, a quick intro. My name is Bini Bhatnagar. I'm a product manager in our future products incubation team. And currently I'm working on Accounts Payable. And thank you, Loic, for inviting me to this call and talk about Accounts Payable. It's a new product we just launched in May. That was our first release. And you'll see how AI and specifically Doc Intel, which is a platform capability that's being leveraged in this out-of-the-box workflow. So with that, let me share my screen. So the workflow that Loic mentioned, it's called Accounts Payable Operations. And it's part of the finance and supply chain workflows. And Loic already covered the safe harbor, so that applies to the product and any of the slides and demo you'll see today. So I wanted to start with this slide, and for a lot of folks who might not know what accounts payable is, it's really an accounting term. Which is used to describe money that's owed to vendors or suppliers for goods or services that are purchased on credit. And this slide shows a typical accounts payable process from when invoices get submitted to when the processing happens or the issues are being resolved. And you can see there's a lot of back and forth here, a lot of different personas are involved before these invoices are ready to be paid. And there are multiple systems that are involved in this whole processing. There are a lot of issues, and this accounts payable process is not new. It's been there for a while. These issues have existed for a long time, even though there's been solutions, a lot of solutions out there in the market. And we've had conversations with a lot of customers, and the issues are repetitive. So it's a pattern that we are seeing. Some of the issues are with the manual and unstructured processing, this poor collaboration, and the accounts payable team, which is this persona, and they play a critical role. They just cannot keep up with the increasing volume of invoices, inquiries that keep coming from the suppliers. So this results in there's late payments, there's incorrect payments, employee productivity loss, there's eroded supplier relations, and a lot more issues. So when you think about all those pain points, ultimately they cost time and money. We've even spoken with customers who process around 15 million invoices a year. Imagine that times the money you're spending in processing each invoice manually. And the process, like I mentioned, is still really, really manual. A lot of time is spent on fixing errors, and those are still very manually done. Many different systems and people are involved in fixing those errors, late penalties, because if the payment's not made on time, and why is that? Again, because the process is so manual and unstructured, and a lot of time gets wasted. 84% of the time of this accounts payable team is being spent on these tactical level where they're just fixing issues and errors and reaching out to different people who should be fixing those errors. Instead of that, we want all these different personas and the accounts payable team to spend time on more strategic value add areas. So when we were thinking about a solution, like I said, the problem, this accounts payable process and problems have existed for a while, nothing new there. So we wanted to do it in a much better way. We spent a lot of time with the research team, a lot of conversations with customers, partners. So before we thought about a solution, we wanted to make sure we get it right. Some of the benefits that you'll see of this out-of-the-box accounts payable workflow is that it's a unified workflow. It brings all these siloed systems, stakeholders together. We've accelerated a lot of processes, and that's where we are very mindful of automating whatever is possible. We've used document intelligence, which is our parsing tool, and we have a lot more on the roadmap on the AI ML area, and that's what we are focused on. And in the end, we learned that because there's so many systems involved, the process is very complex, not straightforward. So we've made the UI really intuitive, very simple, and very easy interface to use. So the end goal is that we get time back, we save money, and we make this process more efficient. Here are some benefits that you'll get from this accounts payable solution. And I'll call out a few important points here. The first one is touchless and automated. Like I said, we've taken away a lot of manual clicks. You'll see that in the demo today. Higher efficiency. Again, there are customers who have like 30 ERP systems, really complex integrations. And we have a very agnostic framework for integration. So we're like the simple layer of UI on the top of all these complex siloed systems. We're not trying to replace the system of record. We are bringing those systems together and a layer on the top. So one single system of action to process and collaborate and drive efficiency, which is the biggest pain point when we've spoken with customers today. And then there's a whole seamless collaboration layer on my channel, which is for the end users. An example is self-service for supply inquiries. Virtual agent is something we've leveraged. Again, we want to make that virtual agent more intelligent with more of the AI capabilities. And as the platform keeps adding those capabilities, we keep bringing them in out of the box for such workflows. So these are some of the key benefits. You can read through them also, but I just wanted to highlight a few important ones here. And how we are offering this, like I said, this is part of the source to pay operations bundle. And we already have 2 products which were out there. So there's a whole procurement capability, which allows customers to manage the sourcing and procurement related workflow. That was the first product that we went live with this in this workflow. The second was supplier lifecycle operations, that is to onboard, engage, offboard vendors using the supplier portal. And then accounts payable operations. This is the new capability that we're talking about. It's going to help pay those vendors that you've received goods from. It's really an extension of these existing capabilities. All three of the products work together and they leverage capabilities from each other. So as a customer, your experience is going to be seamless working with these products. So next, I want to talk about some of the key components, like highlights of the solution that we've offered. So the first two went live in May release. The third one is coming out in August. So the first one is the Accounts Payable Workspace. This is a workspace for the accounts payable team, specifically that persona. And like I'd mentioned, that is the most critical persona, and that team spends the most time trying to get these invoices paid, fixing errors, answering any questions and queries on those invoices. So we've leveraged our existing procurement workspace. We've added on more capabilities. This is a single pane of glass for these accounts payable specialists. It could be for any inquiries coming from suppliers, new invoices, or solving issues. So one place where they can start and end their day, and with a very easy, intuitive UI. The second one that I think is more meaningful for all of you here is document intelligence. In accounts payable, the biggest capability that's needed, and that's the biggest pain point also today, is it's all about paying invoices, right? When those invoices come in, it's extracting the information from those invoices. How that's done today, it's basically done using a third-party siloed tool. The user interface is not easy. The integration makes it complex. With document intelligence, every time I've shared it with any customer, there's so much excitement. And why is that? Why is this a differentiator for us? First of all, it's not like your traditional OCR capability. It's AI backed, really seamlessly integrated in the workflow. There is no extra effort needed there. As invoices come in for the accounts payable team, the system will use DocIntel that gets triggered on. It'll automatically start parsing and digitizing invoices. And those invoices could come in, there are three formats we support. So it could be an image, a PDF. And these invoices come in via email, which is the most common source still. So document intelligence removes that whole manual effort. And to make this even better, because we want to decrease the time of implementation that it takes for customers. So we have a pre-trained model where it's around roughly, I think, 750 invoices, 17 to 18 different templates. So you get an easy start, and then as new invoices come in, you can get those mapped and get those assigned to the right extraction. So document intelligence, like I said, is one of the key differentiating feature that we have for this product. A lot of excitement from customers on this. The third is we have a supplier portal with SLO is one of the products that I was talking about. So in this August release, we are providing additional capabilities for these suppliers, not only to email the invoices, but they can also effectively collaborate with the accounts payable team by submitting these invoices and inquiries directly from the portal. So again, a single pane of glass for these suppliers. They don't have to go to multiple places in order to figure out how to send an invoice, how to figure out when the invoice is going to get paid, etc. So they can have the experience all in one single place. So moving on, we have a whole roadmap. So this is really the vision that we're going after for the accounts payable. So there are two key features, like when you think about accounts payable, one is invoice processing that we've been talking about. And then the second is inquiry management. This is really any questions that a supplier or an end employee could have on the invoices, payment of those invoices. So let's talk about invoice processing. In this, I'd spoken about email being the most common source of how invoices get submitted. We've just enabled portal. There's other channels that we want to introduce as we keep building more. It's going to be an iterative approach. It's a journey for us. We also are going to introduce RPA bots, which is another platform capability. So this is for the legacy tools where no APIs are available. So different ways you can capture invoices. As soon as the capture happens, document intelligence starts parsing those invoices. It does it at a header and the line level. So that's pretty cool, where it brings out all that data. Once that happens, then the system automatically, and like I said, we've automated a lot of manual clicks. The system will automatically start matching these invoice to a purchase order. And then exceptions are triggered. These exceptions are pre-configured. We've used Flow Designer. So as a customer, you will have more exceptions. You can easily configure those using Flow Designer. And then approvals, which is a key piece of accounts payable, right? There could be thresholds, who should approve what. All of that approvals is a platform capability. We do that really well. So we've just leveraged that and enabled it. So you can use this for accounts payable also and configure it based on your needs. And then there's the whole auditing and dispute management. This is a huge gap today. There's no tool that does it well. This is on our roadmap, and this is where we see a lot of AI ML being used. For example, anomalies of when payments are made or when invoices come in, the auditing of that automatically, finding any patterns, etc. So there's a lot to be done in this area, but this is going to be a focus and action item for us in one of our future roadmaps. And then the payment, we don't do the actual payment within ServiceNow, but we get those invoices with any issues and approvals done, and they are ready to be paid. So via integration, you can attach or send those payments to whichever ERP system that is. We have a whole roadmap. If there's interest, let me know which ERP we will have integrations with. We do have spokes in our integration hub with most of the key big vendors out there, the ERP vendors, but some of these spokes will be upgraded with the actions that are needed for accounts payable, which are like very common ERP systems. So there's SAP, HANA, and ECC is the one we just went live with. We have Ariba, Coupa, Oracle, some of those key ERP systems on our roadmap. And then is the inquiry management. We enabled that also with email. So you can get inquiries as a supplier. You can submit an inquiry. When is my invoice going to get paid? Via email, but we've enabled portal also in August. So that's coming out pretty soon. And these suppliers, once they've sent those emails or via portal, they've sent an inquiry or a question, then there are email templates, again, a key platform capability. So through their email, they can do the correspondence, or they can get automated notifications, which is like directly on the portal. They can also respond and communicate with the accounts payable team. So these are really the two workflows or the two use cases we have in this workflow that we've looked at and built some of it. So there were three areas as we were thinking about a solution, that where do we want to focus on. One was the tactical side. Like I'd mentioned, we really don't want these personas or teams to be spending time at the tactical level. So we've automated most of it. The experience, like I said, is straightforward. We've made it really easy, automated as much as we could out of the box. On the strategic side, we've provided a dashboard, which is a consolidated view, and it's solving for the accounts payable specialists, their managers, so they can really see what the landscape is on the accounts payable side, what's getting paid, what's getting delayed, etc. But we want to take it to the next level, where we want to introduce KPIs on metrics like how much is the efficiency. This is more for the leadership to know how much is the efficiency, how many invoices are going touchless, etc. So a lot more is going to come on that, and this is going to be out of the box. Of course, these are configurable if you want to change the view or add different metrics for yourself. And then the intelligence side, I'd mentioned Doc and Tell. Again, a lot of excitement. So this is something we're really happy about. We get a lot of amazing feedback. And we keep adding the doc to the Doc and Tell roadmap also. I'm sure Loic shares that quite a bit. Then there's virtual agent that's coming out soon, where the suppliers, or it could be an end user, via virtual agent, they can get responses. So you really don't need a human that's solving for questions that are really common. And the virtual agent can also provide solutions. So we are looking at that next as I speak. Knowledge base, and then process optimization. This came organically with customer conversations. So the idea was that we have these processes that we've automated, but we don't want to really automate the same process. So if we had 50 steps, we don't want to automate all 50 steps. We want to see how that process can be done in a more efficient way, faster. How do we do that? So we have process optimization, which is our process mining tool. It's a platform capability. What this does is, as these processes are running, it goes through the process, and then it tries to figure out which step is inefficient or is taking the most time. So it looks for candidates that can be automated or can be improved upon, and it flags those, which is really cool, because the whole idea of accounts payable is that how can we make it faster? How can we save time? How can we take away those inefficient clicks and steps that are taking much longer to process these invoices? So there was a lot on this slide, but I just wanted to give you an overview. And once we're in Q&A, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So before I do a demo, and it's a recorded demo, which walks you through the end-to-end of how accounts payable works, and there's a big focus on document intelligence, which is the AI capability we've used so far in this release. So the way the process typically works, and which you'll see in the demo, is that invoices get submitted, and email is what I'd mentioned. We went live in our May release. Portal is coming out in August. We've introduced integration with SAP, but there's more integrations that we want to introduce. As soon as those invoices come in, Doc Intel gets turned on. It starts parsing all the important information, which is configurable. We have around 38 fields we've provided out of the box, common fields for an invoice. But of course, you can add more, edit those, whatever your need is. But Doc Intel, it starts parsing out all that critical information, starts digitizing it. As soon as that happens, a case gets created. So every invoice that gets processed is a case. Every inquiry is a case. So it's all case management, which gives you out of the box visibility, transparency on how your invoice is getting processed, who's approving it, if there are any questions, critical questions, etc. So once the digitization happens, a case gets created, then the system, and if you know, there's two-way, three-way matching. A two-way means there is no purchase order. Two-way is there's a purchase order. Three-way means there's a receipt that needs to be done. So the system is configured to intelligently know what type of matching it needs to be. And once the matching happens, then the system, like I'd mentioned, there are pre-configured exceptions. Exceptions are errors that can restrict the invoice to get paid. It could be where a wrong supplier is submitted or receipt of the goods is not done. So different types of exceptions. So those are automatically raised by the system. And those exceptions then need to be resolved. It could be an employee needs to do the receipt. So the system can automatically create tasks and assign it to people, which can be configured. And once those exceptions get resolved, then the invoice it's approved, and then it gets ready in a ready state to be paid in the ERP system. So that's really the workflow. Invoices come in, all of this issues are resolved, approvals happen, and then they get ready to be paid in the ERP system. So with that, let me switch to the demo. So like I said, it's a recorded demo. It's going to walk you through the product, the highlights, where we use the AI capability doc and tell, future capability like process optimization. So with that, I'll hit play.
Welcome to ServiceNow Accounts Payable Operations. We'll follow our supplier as they submit an invoice, the Accounts Payable team as they process invoices and inquiries, and the business owner as they collaborate with Accounts Payable to resolve exceptions. John, a representative from Acme Corp, a strategic vendor, logs into the ServiceNow supplier portal to begin interacting in real time with his customers. John can do a number of collaborative tasks such as update information, submit requests for customer inquiries, and even submit invoices for payment. John had previously delivered goods and services to his customers and now needs to submit an invoice for payment. After a few simple questions, John is able to attach his invoice and submit the request for payment. John saved a ton of time by using the virtual agent. He can also easily self-serve by tracking the status of his invoice. Now that the invoice is submitted, let's take a look at the invoice processing workflow. Gilly is an agent on the Accounts Payable team. She uses ServiceNow's Account Payable workspace to get work done. In the past, she's been saddled with manual, repetitive work and dreams of putting her time towards more strategic efforts. With ServiceNow's workflows and invoice automation, Gilly can break free from manual work and focus on valuable, strategic initiatives. The Accounts Payable workspace contains a library of rich insights and other performance metrics that Accounts Payable teams care about, such as invoice automation, touchless invoices, and on-time versus late payment trends, all on a single page. These metrics are critical for monitoring the efficiency and improving the operations of Accounts Payable within the organization. Everything on this page is actionable, so Accounts Payable team can drill into the underlying data and collaborate with their teams. When Gilly starts her day, she opens ServiceNow into her Accounts Payable workspace, showing her a number of reports, metrics, and lists to help her prioritize and complete her work. She sees that there are now 3 invoices assigned to her that have exceptions, and she wants to resolve them straight away. Gilly takes a look at the exceptions and sees that John's invoice from Arizona needs her help to continue processing. In the invoice record, Gilly can access all of the contextual information about the invoice. Behind the scenes, ServiceNow's Document Intelligence application has scanned the invoice and using pre-trained AI models has extracted the relevant contents and made them actionable parts of the invoice record. Here you can easily see how ServiceNow reads fields from the invoice and matches them up to their respective fields. If needed, corrections can be made here using a simple user interface. No issues were found and the invoice was properly extracted. Getting back to the invoice, Gilly sees that there are exceptions that need to be resolved. Exceptions are anything that could block the payment of the invoice. Data mismatch, inaccuracies, typos, quantity mismatches, and in this case, insufficient good receipts. Exceptions are automatically found using an exceptions rules engine that runs behind the scene. In this invoice, it looks like an exception where insufficient goods receipt was found. In order to pay this invoice, we must verify that the requester received the items they ordered. Not only can Gilly see which line items in the invoice are causing the exception, she can track the task that has been automatically assigned to the requester to verify the receipt of the goods. Once this is completed, the invoice can continue processing. Gilly's work is done. Continuing our theme of employee collaboration, our workflow now moves to the business owner, Paula. She's just about ready to board an airplane as an urgent request for her input comes from the Now mobile app. Paula gets notified of an invoice related to her purchase order requires a good receipt. She's taken to ServiceNow to confirm the good receipt. She follows the prompts and verifies each affected item. The good receipts have been verified, and now the invoice can be paid. This is where it gets cool. Let's follow Gilly as she tracks the efficiency of the Accounts Payable automation. Back on the invoice, Gilly continues to monitor the progress and notices that the exceptions have been resolved. With the goods receipts verified, all exceptions have been resolved and the invoice can be paid on time. John is thrilled to get an email from his customer letting him know the payment's on the way. Accounts Payable leadership can monitor the ongoing health of their processes with a built-in process mining capabilities. Gilly spots an insight indicating that a large number of invoices may include manual steps. Gilly can also explore the data using an intuitive process map to uncover where the manual steps are and the impact of the bottleneck they're creating. She can then turn those findings into improvement opportunities. End-to-end process monitoring, improvement, and optimization is reality for accounts payable on the ServiceNow platform.
All right, so hopefully that gave you a good idea of how the product works and some of the capabilities. The last slide that I wanted to share was that, like I'd mentioned, we went live in May, but we went live as control go-to-market. So it's available for you to download, and the links are here. I'll put it in the chat also. If you want to download Accounts Payable, once you click on these links, it will ask for it'll send an automated approval. Someone will approve it, and you should be able to play around with Accounts Payable. That's all I had, Loic. If there are questions, I'm happy to take some questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vinny. We had two questions that are kind of the same related to SAP. So somebody is asking if that's a SAP function that ServiceNow is offering now through the platform, and somebody else is asking if that product replaces the existing SAP system, or does it complement it?
Right. So for the first question, yes, we have, like I'd mentioned, integration out of the box. So we went live with ECC and S/4HANA. What that means is we already had the spokes in our integration hub spokes for SAP. We've added actions specifically for accounts payable. So now with this integration live, if you want to leverage the spokes, you should be able to use the accounts payable integration with no extra effort for these two, ECC and S/4HANA. And for the second question, no, we're not trying to replace any of the source systems or ERP systems. We are basically a layer on the top, and we're looking to coexist. So SAP and all these other Ariba, Coupa type of systems, they become the transactional systems, but we kind of bring those systems together, and we are like a layer on the top, is what I would say.
Okay, great. We get one last question. What does all actions refer to?
So all actions, what that means is that when we have these spokes, which are just connectors from ServiceNow to whichever application the spokes are for, those spokes need to have actions. What that means is for every product, like for accounts payable, it's specifically around invoice processing. If you have accounts receivable, it's going to be around that. So it's different things that you want, a different type of information you want to send back and forth to these source systems. So these actions are what allow you to do that. So today, for example, for PeopleSoft, we do have actions available, but that could be for incidents or change management, not necessarily for accounts payable. So those have to be added in. Hope that answered the question.
I loved it. I love how we showed the power of the platform, how we can simplify and automate some operations, how we can balance between APIs and paper documents that are processed via DocIntel and AI. Thank you so much, Vinny. We're going to end the session today. Thank you, everybody, for joining and the great questions.
Thank you, everyone. Hope this was helpful, and reach out for any additional questions. Happy to chat and provide more information.